From the OUTV Broadcast Center in Los Angeles, California, this is Brief News Brief, a brief look at today's trending news topics, proudly combating the thought police since 2016. Here's your host, James Heaney.
I'm James Heaney, and this is your Brief News Briefing. Today, House lawmakers grilled Facebook and Google about hate speech and the rise of white nationalism, and it didn't go well. A live stream of the event was streaming to YouTube, and immediately all of the comments were, well, awful. They were hateful comments. I'm sure you're familiar, because if you're not listening to the podcast of this on briefnewsbrief.com, well, then you're probably listening to it on YouTube and you're familiar with YouTube comments. You can't get away from them. YouTube had to go in and delete all of the comments on the live stream, all the racist and anti-Semitic words that had piled up on the congressional live stream, and then disable the comments. It's always embarrassing when you have to disable the comments on your videos. YouTube's press account tweeted, "Hate speech has no place on YouTube." Yet YouTube has really just given any troll in the universe a platform to get out there and hate. Facebook and Google are conduits of hateful rhetoric. There, I said it out loud, that's it. A number of witnesses from civil rights groups and members of Congress are calling on the companies to do more to clean up their platforms. Recently, a gunman in New Zealand live-streamed on Facebook 2 mosque shootings that left at least 50 dead. There's a word for that. It's called snuff films. And back in the day, it was a different world. You couldn't get those, you couldn't spread these snuff films as a very small black market thing. Now, it's just one misguided maniac's impulse away from being live-streamed. Now, the Judiciary Chairman, Jerry Nadler, criticized the platform, saying that efforts by media companies to counter this surge have fallen short. And social network platforms continue to be used as ready avenues to spread dangerous white nationalist speech. Now, last week, FBI Director Christopher Wray said that white supremacy presents a persistent and pervasive threat to the United States. Hate crimes have ticked up during Trump's presidency. Trump and his allies have pushed back on the accusations that he's soft on white nationalism and that his rhetoric fuels a dangerous climate for minorities. Today, New York City declared a public health emergency and ordered mandatory measles vaccinations. This is by far the toughest action taken to date by state or local officials in the current measles outbreak that was steered, for the most part, and when I say the most part, I mean all of it was steered by the anti-vaxxer movement. It would simply not have happened if these guys would have taken their heads out of their asses and opened their eyes to reality. The specific mandate is intended to halt an outbreak of concentrated... God, I guess I'm just going to have to stop that part. It's just not working. It was fun the first time I improvised it. Today, New York City declared a public health emergency and ordered mandatory measles vaccinations. This is by far the toughest action taken to date by state or local officials in the current measles outbreak, which was steered, for the most part, the vast most part, by anti-vaxxers in the anti-vaxxer movement. This specific mandate is intended to halt an outbreak that's concentrated among ultra-Orthodox Jews in Brooklyn. Today's news is a major flashpoint in a nationwide battle to try to stop the second biggest flare-up of the disease since the year 2000. The Center of Disease Control and Prevention has announced that they are setting up a special team to oversee and manage the agency's response to the ongoing measles outbreaks. They say that they are seriously concerned about the accelerating numbers of measles cases being confirmed nationally. Mayor Bill de Blasio said today, "The measles vaccine works. It is safe. It is effective. It is time-tested. The faster everyone heeds the order, the faster we can lift it." The mandate orders all unvaccinated people in 4 different zip codes, including those with a concentration of Orthodox Jews, to receive inoculations, including for children as young as 6 months old. Anyone who resists could be fined up to $1,000. See, let me just say one thing, though. I don't think that's fair. I think it should be $1,000 a day, and it should incrementally get higher. 1,000 the first day, 2,000 the second day, 4,000 the third day, 8,000 the fifth. Because otherwise, rich people could just be like, "Oh, it's worth $1,000 not to give my PT boy a vaccine," which is just part of the problem. Okay, sorry. I'm sorry. It's just I have a lot more understanding for Orthodox Jews who have a spiritual reason. Not that I agree with it, but I understand it more than somebody that's just wealthy enough to say, well, then I had to give my child a vaccine. Government pushes for inoculations and the barring of unvaccinated children from public spaces have prompted a backlash among the anti-vaccination activists. Anti-vaxxers revel in misinformation campaigns, which have led to declines in immunizations against one of the world's most contagious diseases. De Blasio went on to say, we're making clear that unvaccinated students will not be allowed in schools or daycares. The outbreak in the area has been tied to a child who did not receive the measles, mumps, and rubella vaccine, the MMR, and contracted the disease during a trip to Israel. Today, Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell refused to publicly endorse Herman Cain for the Federal Reserve Board. Now, Herman Cain is, yes, that Herman Cain, the Becca Stanistan Herman Cain, the former 2012 presidential candidate. He's also a former Godfather's Pizza chain executive, which is one of the few chains that I would rather eat a Subway version of a pizza sub than actually eat a slice of that pizza. It's disgusting. It's disgusting pizza. You know it. I know it. Everyone knows Godfather's Pizza is disgusting. Mitch McConnell took a long, hard look at Herman Cain and said privately, nah, I don't think this guy's going to get through the Senate confirmation. Now, President Trump has signaled that he wants to nominate Cain to the head of the National Central Bank, to which most of America thought to themselves, wow, really, that guy? That guy's going to run the Fed. Now, I don't know much about the Fed, but I can tell you that it's a crucial financial role in the economy, right? Like, maybe someone in this role would want to, I don't know, I don't want to overstep my ground. I'm just an anchor man. But maybe have experience in monetary policy? But no, Trump is just shamelessly selecting an ideological partisan to politicize the Fed. Like we really need more political battlegrounds in this country. Now, another nonpartisan branch of the government is getting all tribal. Republicans are also specifically tepid about bringing Cain into the nomination process because he will certainly face scrutiny over his treatment of women. Cain is marred by sexual misconduct allegations that all but ended his presidential campaign in 2012. So what's Trump's beef with the Fed? That he needs to shake it all up and down so it bends to his will. Well, Trump has complained that Fed Chairman Jerome Powell's interest rate hikes have dampened economic growth. Cain also famously, during the 2012 campaign, embraced a 999 tax plan that scrapped the current system with one based on flat taxes, or as I like to call it, the SimCity tax plan. Cain is currently the head of a political action committee, America Fighting Back, whose purpose is to combat the vile and uncalled for propaganda directed at Trump and promote the president's agenda. He runs a pro-Trump television ad campaign factory, I guess is what you'd say. It churns out pro-Trump campaign ads. That's interesting, isn't it? Huh. Maybe that was one of the reasons he's qualified to run the Fed. I don't know.